open to the Chamber of Commerce, meet the candidates tonight. Can everybody hear me back there?
No. Okay.
Okay, I would like to thank the candidates and audience for being here. At this time, please turn off your and silence your cell phones. Tonight, as I ask questions to our candidates, they will have 2 minutes to respond. We will ring a bell when we have 15 seconds left and call time at 2 minutes. Other candidates will also have 2 minutes to comment, and we will move forward onto the next question. I would like to introduce our candidates who are running for alderman. In the first ward, we have Alderman Ryan Jeffries, Lonnie Orr. Second ward, we have Alderman Ryan Knight, Bobby Thomas. Third ward, Tom Smith, Alderman Tom Smith, and then Jake Reagan. So the third ward is unopposed by Jonathan Mitzer. Jonathan Mitzer, if you have a question, he's in the back over there in the corner.
I got my security here.
Okay, each candidate can make an opening statement of 2 minutes or less, introducing yourself, starting with Ryan Jeffries.
I'm Ryan Jeffries. I grew up here in town. Yes. Ryan Jeffries, grew up here in town. I've been first ward alderman the last 4 years. Before that, I was with the township. I'm not a politician in any way or form. I just got into this because I was trying to make the town better. I try and make all my decisions more on numbers and on emotions. Our town needs a lot of improvement. It needs a lot of improvement in more businesses. It needs a lot of things like that. But I'm going to keep this short, just like that. I only have a lot to say. I'm going to hand it over to Marty.
Oh boy, I have a lot to say. If you know me, I have a hard time shutting up sometimes, but I'll do all right. I'll keep it within my 2 minutes. My name is Marty Orr. I moved to the great city of Wilmington in May of 1990. I met my wife, who wasn't my wife at the time, she happened to be Kaylor. She was from here. I was serving in the Navy at the time in Jacksonville, Florida. Met her, and we come up here and we raised our family. We've raised 2 beautiful kids. The oldest one now has 3 grandkids, so that's the most awesome part. I've been involved in the community since 1994, believe it or not, off and on in various roles. I actually started, when I started in 94, was with what they call the Downtown Revitalization Committee. It was a committee of citizens that helped put, like we see Claire's Corner downtown. In fact, Claire was the head of the DRC, and so that was kind of where I got my feet wet into the community. It's where I met the handsome guy over there, Ralph Stevens, and continued my growth. I've been involved in the Park District. I was in the Park District. Actually, I've been an alderman for 8 years, and I was also mayor for 8 years. I care deeply about this community. This is my home. This is what I do. As far as I do care about the town that I live in, and I want to see it grow. I want to see it prosper. Not so much for us anymore, because we're starting to get up here in age, but for our kids and our grandkids as well. We want to make sure that they're well taken care of well into the future. And like I said, I'm running for first ward. I've lived up there all my time. Living here is up in the first ward. I have strong feelings that the first ward has kind of been neglected for the past 4 years, so I decided to jump back in because I think it needs a little more action up there. We are an old part of town, and I'm looking forward to coming out on April 1st and voting. And if you're in the first ward, I hope you vote for me. Thank you.
My name is Ryan Knight. Moved here in 2015 from Nebraska to build a high-speed rail that still's not through Wilmington yet. It will be. My day job, I do bridges, roadways. This is what I do for a living. When I moved here, I met my wife and 2 kids, and they're at the high school, senior, going to graduate, and then the freshman. They're both in athletics, so you'll see me there all the time. Family first, I'm faithful, right? I want Christ and everything like that. But I'm here for Wilmington. That's where it is. Moved here, fell in love with the place, and just wanted to continue the growth and the journey here. I feel like this is my home, right? It is now for the last 8 years, 9 years, 10 years. Sorry, that's 2025. Goes fast. That's it. I've been a part of the community at WBSA, Bobcats. I've had all local events to help support the kids and the youth, and that's my goal, right? That's what I want to do. Keep the youth moving and things for them to do in this town. So, April 1st, vote for me. I am your current alderman for the second ward. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Bob Thomas. Born and raised here in Wilmington. I am a 150 operator, retired. So it gives me a little more time to get out there and look at things and help people out. I'm running for the second ward. I have a lot to say. So, thank you.
All right, my name is Thomas Smith. I am your current 4th Ward Alderman. I'm seeking re-election, and I hope that you support me. Grew up here in Wilmington. I graduated from St. Rose. I also attended Providence High School and graduated from the college, now University of St. Francis, with a degree in political science. I also was a legislative intern with George Sangmeister. So I studied a lot of that, and also I was on the mock trial team and on WCSF radio. After college, I worked for Foot Locker as a manager and also Harrah's Casino Joliet, so I'm very familiar with the gaming industry, worked in VIP and credit. And then in 2000, I actually took a job with the radio stations in Joliet. So I work in marketing, and I've been with them since January of 2001. Those are the 4 radio stations in Joliet. You'll see them here at Catfish Days. I bring them down. We do remotes and all that to help promote the city. Within the last 4 years, I've also helped with when a couple of years ago, when all the flags were stolen off the Kankakee River Bridge. I worked with the Moose Riders, and that was with businesses including Arnie Bauer, Durazio Ford, George Sangmeister, or George over at Community GMC, Zuganellis, Bobby Bolser, Freak over at Top Fuel, one of my co-workers, Bobby Bolser, and also Ryan Hopkins, Chief Joe when he was here, and myself. We all donated to bring those back. We also worked doing Cruising the Green, so I raised over $3,500 for Guzman Care Cottage. I've been on the Catfish Days Committee since 2001. I do all the advertising and sponsorship for that, with a lot of the bands. And then also I was a school board member for St. Rose for almost 8 years. So I've been here in this town since 1974, and I've seen a lot from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and current, and definitely love where Wilmington is going. With the new outreach out on Lorenzo Road, when we bring back 129, that's going to help revitalize that area over there, get people, and definitely love Wilmington. So please vote for me.
Hello, my name is Jacob Reagan. I am a local finance and pipe fitter. I am running for Alderman, 4th Ward. I moved into the city in 2015, soon after I met my wife, kind of Catherine. And after that, I've been helping out with various organizations within the city. Closer, sorry. Been helping out with various organizations in the city, helping out with Kirsten with the park district as much as I can. Anybody that needs help usually outreaches to me, and I have no problem helping out. So since I moved in here in 2015, all I've been wanting to do is help out. I saw a need for it, so I stepped up and did it. Simple as that. Jay Gray, Alderman Ward number 4. Thank you.
Okay, can I have a big hand for everybody? Thank you very much. Okay, if you have a question for the candidates, please write it on an index card. The index cards, there's some up here, there's some back there, pins are up front also. We will ask as many questions as we can, but please keep in mind it is unlikely time will allow us for all the audience questions to be asked. So we'll ask our questions up here, and then we'll get the questions that you guys submit, and we'll keep going on. So we do the alderman first, and then after they're done, we'll take a 5-minute break. We'll get the alderman or mayor in the spot, and we'll do it again. So, okay. Ralph is going to go ahead and be your narrator tonight, so he will be asking all the questions. So can I have a big hand for Ralph Tuffy?
I'm doing this a while now, so I think my 5th mayoral debate. Okay, this is for all of you guys, and we'll start from Ryan and go all across. What is the biggest problem facing Wilmington, and how do you intend to address it?
Lack of money. Everybody in every group, in every church group, whatever it is, sports, everything, that's the main thing everybody's asking for. Everybody wants more funding for whatever they're doing, whether it's streets, whether it's anything in this town. And the one way to do that is more businesses. A good ratio for businesses to houses is 3.1 houses to 1 business. We're about 6 to 1 right now. So we have a lot of room for improvement. The more businesses that are in town, the more money there is for everybody, and there's gonna be a lot less fighting over stuff.
Okay, Marty?
Look at that. I know there's people in the back that can't hear us. You got that?
You guys can hear him?
No.
I didn't know if you had a second microphone. I mean,
Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
You know, I mean, Ryan did kind of hit a smart. We always like.
Oh.
It's not working. Hello? No, went out.
Now check. All right, now we got it.
There you go.
Technical issues.
Commercial growth is where our biggest challenge is. We are lacking in commercial growth. We haven't had any for a while. I think we got trucks not going in right now. That's probably the closest thing we have. As far as new commercial structure, you may see new businesses come in, but you don't see new structures where really the big benefit is. We need to really focus on that. We're going to be losing some heavy taxing businesses here once things start rolling. I know there's always been talk, we just don't know what's going to happen. So we have to prepare for that. Commercial growth, industrial growth naturally is always huge, but you know, big talk is we don't have money. Well, I'm a fiscal conservative, and the last thing I want to do is come ask you guys for more money. I think that's crazy. There are certain ways that the government can utilize business and sales tax dollars and revenue to do the best that they can with as little as they can. And so that's how I like to apply it. Thank you.
All right, my biggest thing here, I think, is our infrastructure, the water, sewer. Live in the 2nd Ward. We got a bunch of puddles when it rains. We got storm sewer that might run through sanitary sewer. There's a bunch of stuff that I think needs to be fixed. There's underlining issues for the roads that are buckling and falling apart that we just kind of keep paving over the top of. I think we need to go down, start from the bottom, and bring back up. We're doing a lot right now in Kankakee, on Kankakee Street, Water Street's next. So we are moving forward on that. So that's where I would put my main focus on.
Alright, one thing I'd like to see done is quit giving all the TIF districts out. That hurts every single person in this room. People don't realize this, TIF districts are horrible for this town. It brings in business, but you also pay for that business because they don't pay the taxes for 5, 10, 20 years. So who's paying those taxes? We are. We need to stop the TIF districts.
Well, when our current group that sits in City Hall, we had a lot of issues 4 years ago with water loss. We have corrected that, which was great. Roads have always been bad. We've had a lot of great infrastructure changes in the last 4 years. And then definitely business is gonna be needed. And with the impending truck stop, yes, but we're also losing 2 big car dealerships. So there's always been a certain amount of businesses here, and we want to support businesses that are here. And we've also, as a group, we also voted to help outside of the downtown business district by giving back to the business owners. We did the grant that they can get $5,000 back for their improvement on their buildings. And at least right now, the whole town is looking a lot better. And we have a lot more to go. Kankakee Street will be redone soon. They're working on the new parking lot behind Hayden's, getting that all cleared up. And then Main Street, so I mean, definitely a lot of infrastructure has been good for us. And we continue to look for more, so.
As all the other candidates up here have mentioned, there's many issues in the town, and everybody's right. Every single one of them is a major concern. Is there an easy way to fix it? No. It's going to take a lot of work, a lot of volunteers, a lot of people stepping up. Money's an issue. Yes. How do you get more money? More businesses? Absolutely. Tariffs. My knowledge is very limited on tariffs, and I have to do a little more research into that. That being said, businesses coming in. How do you bring more businesses in? You gotta make it enticing for them to come in. How do you make it enticing? Improve the town. It's all underlying factors that you gotta step up on. Water loss has been a huge issue since I moved here. You guys, the last administration, the last 4 years, have done a great job improving everything on roads, water loss. I can't say enough good things about them. They've done an amazing job. So, besides that, anything else needs to be improved. Honestly, bringing more residents, I think, would be awesome. More houses, more taxing bodies. Improve on the parks. Parks is a huge thing. There's nothing to do for the kids in the town. So, besides that, that's all I have.
Would you be in favor of the city purchasing the soon-to-be vacant fire department? Why or why not?
I would if we could use it, but if Ezra doesn't want to take it, then no. It's that simple.
Yeah, same thing. No, yeah, I mean, Asda is in a very old building. Asda's run out of room. People know it. The vast importance that Asda does in our community is huge. Most of those guys that work, in fact, the majority of them do it free. They just dedicate their time to that. So if that fire department would work for emergency services, then without a doubt, we would fundamentally right to work with the fire district in acquiring that building.
I echo these two. I think it should go to Asda if they want it. If not, it goes to sale. Find somebody else.
I think we're all about the same on this. It's a little hard. I would like to see us to move down there. I know they've looked other places for a new building, but I think feasible for them. We have to look at that. How feasible it is.
I would say yes, because of the space that is needed for ESDA, but it also depends on the cost which the city would have to pay. And I definitely think it would be a good thing, but not for, depending on what the cost would be. And I don't want to put it on the taxpayers, because that's not fair either.
As everybody stated, I agree with both of the candidates again. And it sucks being last sometimes. But with that being said, the building can be utilized, yes. Is it going to cost money? Yes. It needs some repairs, without a doubt. As does a good choice. Lions Club always need another building. Wilmington Park District needs another building. There's many options the city can utilize it for, but like again, cost analysis isn't worth it. So.
How can the city encourage families and businesses to move to Wilmington?
Free tap-ons for water as far as building new houses.
Sort of to your mouth.
Hold it closer.
I'm just saying, tap-ons, cancel the tap-on fees for so many houses a year, which is, we all agreed on doing that already. But, like I said, back to more businesses. People like variety. People want choices. It's the same thing like going to the bar. If you only have one alcohol, there's a reason they have that many choices. There's a reason when you go to the grocery store, you have that many choices. The more businesses we have, the more people come in. And we need to definitely not do, sorry, I'm getting a little sidetracked. Bringing the businesses in, it's kind of a hard one. We just have to make it enticing. We have to give enough things as far as like enough parking and everything else for the business to come in. They've got to have, you can't just have a building in a great spot if you don't have everything there for them as far as parking and that, you're just not going to get them in. But that's all I got to say.
I go first.
I think what we need to do is go over to Diamond and find out who they're hired to get all that commercial business into their town, and holy crap, I mean, just I don't know, kidnap and bring them over here, let them do it, because they're doing it right. I mean, they are, and I think that's exactly what we need. We can stand up here and say we need commercial growth, but sometimes you need to hire the person that knows that economic development growth. You bring that person in, you make them earn their paycheck by bringing that commercial and those commercial businesses into the city. And that's where we need to start. Commercial growth entices the homeowner. When a person comes in and wants to move in, they want everything close. We all do. We don't want to drive 20 minutes, 30 minutes to go out. We want to have everything close so we can get our stuff done. So that's fine.
It's like the chicken and the egg, right? You need the houses for the businesses, you need the businesses for the houses, so we just gotta go together and roll. If Durazio is leaving, whatever, that's hurt, but let's find somebody to replace him. Let's figure out what we can do to continue the growth here. As mentioned, parks, we don't have anything really for the youth in town. Find that, get that, we got to continue to do that now, bring in younger families that will continue to grow this beautiful town.
Ralph, can you say that question again exactly?
How can the city encourage families and businesses to move to Wilmington?
All right, I live on 53, and I'll tell you what, families don't want to move to this town if they got garbage roads in the streets. I get woken up every night by the semis, not just by the semis driving down the road, but how fast they're going. They hit the bumps, the manhole's been collapsing for years, I've been keeping track of it. I got the state on speed dial constantly, where they're getting tired of me calling. But nobody wants to go to a town that the streets are all garbage. The roads are garbage. It's the infrastructure has to be done on these roads, or people ain't gonna come here either. Even big business won't come here unless these roads are better.
Well, back when a lot of us were in grade school, we had so right over behind Whitmore's, there was a club over there that had swimming, racquetball, swimming, and then weightlifting. I think definitely one thing would help if we could work with the park district, and it'd be working through everybody too, to put up a big rec center. That would help. That would be one thing to help, for the kids to do, the parents to do, put it all in one place. That's one thing we're definitely missing. Park District also is doing a great job with all their, everything that they're doing. Catfish Days is a great thing for the kids. We had a new business come into Battle City, which definitely I know is getting a lot of people going in there. So, I mean, we're definitely in the right direction for that. With the houses, I mean, Wilmington, we also had St. Rose. We lost St. Rose. How many kids did we lose there? And that was a lot of kids, parents, families, and because of the cost. So, and a lot of them went over to the public school, and they've been doing great. And I mean, I think with our sports in town, you know, go Wildcats. I mean, the championships we have, people know who Wilmington is. In Wilmington, people are proud. And definitely it's all up to us here to promote Wilmington. And why should they come here? Because we're a town and we are a family. So definitely we just need to reach out and bring more people down ourselves too.
Tom said it very well. I was gonna go with the park district once again having a rec center. Definitely needed. Water park, something to entice kids and families to come in. Besides that, bring in restaurants. That would be nice. I liked Ryan's idea of having limited fees on tapping into the water for new construction. That's a good one. Besides that, what else can you do? Limit permit fees building. Yes and no versus city in the long run. Bringing businesses in is one thing, but to bring families is a whole other thing. Open-ended. I mean, like Ryan said, I mean, there's nothing you can do. Everything leads up to each other. Everything stacks up. Roads, water problems, businesses. There's too much going on for that. It's an open-ended question. Okay.
Where do you see Wilmington in April 2029?
In the same place it is on the planet.
That was the question.
I really do see us growing and getting better. This last 4 years, we've had such a good push and so many things cleaned up around town and more businesses, and it just seems like it's so much a nicer place the last 4 years. And I really see that momentum staying and going and getting better and better and better. And like I said, I hope our parks get better. We get more money in. Like I said, every problem that everybody's mentioned through here, money does help it. Money does make those things happen. It fixes our roads. It gives us parks. It gives us places to go. And our rate, like I said, our ratio is off. We do need more businesses than houses right now. So that's it. Go for it.
I'm trying.
I hope we're better in 4 years than we are today. We need, you know, how do you say it? We need to improve where we're at. We can't get better. We need to be better, and we need to make sure that we have the right people in place to where we can be the envy of the area. That's what I'd love to see us be that envious town, not Diamond anymore, but us to be that envious city.
I believe the last 4 years there's been a lot of change. You can see it through town. Continue that, obviously, pushing forward, continue buildings, continue the roads, infrastructure. Add families, add parks, add waters. It's all the same thing, right? You have to keep moving. Definitely not take a step back. That's not going to happen. Keep pushing where we are. Things are going to go. IDOT's finally coming through to repay 53. Again, that's not our road, it's IDOT's. So it is rough, it is paved, it is a crappy road, it is getting fixed. So little things, step by step, we can continue. So in 4 years, 4 more years, I think it's going to be even more beautiful, more desirable, more enjoyable to be here.
Thank you. Well, I hope I'm here in 2029. Yeah, I think the town's growing. I mean, it's doing better every year. Take care of getting rid of stuff. I also help out the Baseball Association a couple times, putting new speakers up with my truck, free of charge. I don't want to charge nobody for that. Anything that helps out the kids, helps out our schools, I'm all for it. So hopefully in the next few years our town will keep growing slowly. We don't need to have a big boom in town, but grow slowly, and I think it'll be better.
Well, worldwide, Wilmington is a destination, especially, I mean, we have a great waterway, we have natural resources there, and we are on Route 66, and we definitely have the best attraction around, the Gemini Giant. So definitely, I think with the next 4 years, you're gonna see more improvements, we have more businesses coming in, and it's gonna draw people from outside of Wilmington too, which is going to bring more tax into the town. The more taxes we have that are paid, the more changes and the better infrastructure we will have, so.
In the next 4 years, I do see Wilmington being beautiful. With the right people in office, I don't see an issue at all. We have the opportunity, we have the people to do it. All we gotta do is do it.
All right, give them a big hand, guys. I want to thank the candidates for coming tonight and answering our questions. We'll take a little break, about 5 minutes, and then we'll have the mayor. We'll get this started. Running for mayor are Mayor Ben Dietz, former Mayor Roy Strong, and Jason Malinsky. Okay, each candidate can make an opening statement of 2 minutes or less introducing himself, starting with Mayor Dietz.
Do we get a microphone or just yell? No.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming. First and foremost, thanks for the participation. We need great civic feedback to make sure the process is as open and as transparent as possible for everyone. And I think all three of us would agree, your feedback is invaluable to what we do. That being said, my name is Ben Dietz. I am the current mayor of Wilmington. I've been in office for 4 years. Lived in Wilmington for 18 with my wife Jessica, who is a lifelong resident, and my 3 boys who all go to school here in town. Prior to, I guess where I first got started was about 10 years ago with a group of individuals that wanted to improve the parks. We started a little group. Main goal was to improve those parks. Through that process, there's myself and another gentleman that just saw constant roadblocks in the city on wanting to do anything more with those. So me and him, Jake Ten, no longer lives here, but nonetheless, we both ran for alderman to get more involved with the process, and we both won an election. Through that, we were able to transfer the Northwest Park to the Park District, giving the Park District their first land ever. And we've seen what the Park District has done with that land since. It's beautiful and fantastic, and it's allowed Kirsten and her team to continue to provide great programming for the city. But as that time progressed, being an alderman, I saw lots of opportunities, specifically with the mayor's office. Me and Roy have some disapproval all along the way, but nonetheless, we still have the same vision of improving the town. My feedback with that, and the reason why I ran for mayor 4 years ago, was we didn't have plans, we didn't have budgets, we didn't have any clear vision on what we wanted to do, and more so, no way to get it done. So that's what I ran on, is we needed plans, we needed to go get partnerships to get those grant dollars, to get the additional funding, because as everyone before us just said, money is a problem, right? They're not just handing out money, it's not just readily available. So you gotta really put the effort, and that's something that, while I do have a full-time job as a project manager for a software company, this is really my passion. And I spend more time doing this, being mayor, than I do at my real job that pays the bills. And it's because I see that grand vision of this town getting better and better. And we've seen that over the last 4 years. We've got millions of dollars in grants, we're getting projects done, we're seeing infrastructure, we're seeing a downtown that's more vibrant than it's been in decades. We're seeing more businesses. Would we like to have more? Yes. We have 400 buildable lots in city limits today. Would I like to see more? Absolutely. We have the land that's already there. Those lands need to get developed, and that's why I'm running for another 4 years, just because I see that clear vision on how to get that done. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Roy Strong, and I'm from Wilmington. Always been here. I was mayor 2 terms, 8 years. I was alderman for 10, so I've been involved with the city for about 18 years. I've enjoyed it. It's when you accomplish things, it just feels good. And when you have a good backup, it's so much better when you got a good alderman there and stuff. But I was born and raised Wilmington. I'm fifth generation here. I went to, I have two daughters, Ashley and Anna. Ashley's a Navy pilot. Anna's a project manager in San Diego. I'm proud of my girls. They went to high school here like they should have. I spent 4 years in the Marine Corps, a year in Vietnam. I came back, went to college in Colorado and got a business administration degree. And I came back here and I wanted to go to grad school. And my advisor says, don't go back there and work with your brother. I said, no problem, I'll go to school. I did that, never went to grad school. And with my brother, we had Island City Piping, which is a successful business, still in business now. So, and then I was part of RTMs originally, and you remember RTMs, some of you are a little young, but we opened that up, in 77, 78. And Tommy Hayden runs it now, it's Hayden's, it's still there. So a successful business is all about, and I'm a business person in the city's business, and that's what, with the proper help, we can accomplish a lot. We always have, we'll do better. We can always do better. But I want to remind you on that sales tax, Wilmington it's probably 3 times the sales tax that Braidwood or Coal City or even Diamond has. So you remember that. We're not on the bottom totem pole there. And if you go to Braidwood or Coal City, and you drive those streets are terrible. So our streets aren't that bad. The mayor's done a lot there. I've done a lot. But remember, when you're paving, we all pave streets. So that's not an issue. But sometimes the oil was so high we couldn't do anything. We wanted to tar and chip Kaler Road, but the oil was so high it would cost you as much to you might as well pave it than tar and chip. So the oil's down, and you can do more work with it and work with the money. So that's a big thing, is working with what you have and not breaking the city. So that's where I'm at, and is to improve the city, like all 3 of us, I'm sure, and without breaking the city, and again, businesses and housing. Business, they go by your rooftops. I had a book before that, so many rooftops, okay, Burger King comes in. So many rooftops, McDonald's comes in. So that's how it works. You can invite everybody, but they're saying, no, I'm not coming there. If we haven't got the rooftops, we're not coming. But it's hard, it's a catch-22. How do you get them? Okay, very quick.
Hi everyone, I'm Jason Walensky. I've lived in Wilmington for almost 30 years now. I've raised my family with my wife Eileen. I have 2 kids and now a grandchild, so I'm looking more along to the future nowadays. I'm a general contractor, I'm a home builder for 28 years, and I was on the City of Wilmington's building inspector for 3 years. I was on the City of Wilmington's Planning and Zoning Commission for 3 years. And that's what gave me an ambition to want to make a change. For the most part, we all want the same thing, all 3 of us here. Improvement, growth, but the difference is how we get there. And that's why I'm running for mayor. Thanks.
Okay, we'll start with you, Jason, going on. With the car dealerships leaving later this year from Braidwood, how will that loss of sales tax revenue impact Wilmington, and what is your plan to replace it?
Losing the dealerships is huge. We need more housing and obviously commercial business. That's apparent. What was the other part?
What do you plan to replace it with?
I think we probably need some type of marketing firm that we can bring in to get the growth, kind of like Diamond did. We haven't done that. We're losing out on a lot of revenue from the dealership.
It's unfortunate that the Ford dealer and Chevy dealer are leaving. And I bought property for them, not bought it, I found property, 50 acres for them, but they saw, it was out, Garkey's owned some property on 55. Well, they wanted they said it was A, B property, so, the Ring Farm, we looked at that, but they wanted to sell it all, it's 112 acres, but we had to buy the whole thing, which would have been about 3 or 4 million, which we weren't gonna do that. And so they end up, in Braidwood, we try to keep them here. But also, Durazio owns the Ford building and the car wash. So it's not going empty. There'll be something else in there. So it won't be a total loss. It is our biggest tax and revenues from dealerships, that's no doubt. It's quite a bit, but other sources that are increasing. So we'll deal with it. The city is a good city to come to. People come and visit and they want to stay here. So we'll be all right. We just cut our bills a little bit and we'll survive. I'm sure the mayor will say the same thing. That we'll make it work.
Yeah, so no doubt that losing dealerships potentially could be an issue. I wouldn't say it's a big issue, and the reason why I say that is you got to know what the price is, right? You got to know how many tax dollars you're getting from it, and while it is significant, Wilmington has continued for the last, not just my 4 years. I'll give credit where credit's due. The last 6 or 7 years, we've seen exponential growth, and even through last year, we saw 1.6 million in sales tax revenue, and that's just through the first 3 quarters of the year. That beat the previous year by $500,000. So, like Roy said before, we are dominating our market. Us, Braidwood, Coal City, I'll even say Diamond. And the reason I'll say Diamond is, yes, they're getting a jewel, yes, they're getting whatever, but they're abating all those taxes. The city's not going to get a dime from those things because they're giving them as incentives to get those businesses in town. And the same thing with the car dealerships, Braidwood made their deal and they gave them quite a bit of incentive, and that goes for decades. And that deal was announced almost 2 weeks when I got elected 4 years ago, and they still have yet to put a shovel in the ground. So I'm not putting all of my carton of worry and concern over 2 businesses that might leave. They said that they're hoping to get open sometime in 2027. That's years away, and that's the hope. So yeah, it is an issue. It is a sizable amount of money. It represents less than 25% of our overall sales tax mix. So while I am concerned, I'm not terribly frightened about the notion that those buildings are still going to exist after they leave, and they're still going to get property taxes that still benefit the schools. But the overall scope of it, we have a good, diverse group of businesses to support our community.
We'll start with you, Ben, on this one. Each year, the city appropriates tens of thousands of dollars for economic development. What has the money been used for, and what should it be used for in the future?
Yeah, so it is a budget item on the city's budget. Over the last 4 years, we've given out tens of thousands of dollars to local businesses for facade improvement grants, which 1,000,000% goes right to that. There's 9 different businesses that have applied and improved their business, anything from community GMC to the Blue Horse. We have Art on the 66. We have Route 66 Bar and Grill, to name a few. We've given them out. We're going to continue to give them out. It's a great incentive for businesses to not only reinvest in the community, but make it look more presentable. And we can see that all you have to do is drive down Water Street, and you can see not only is everything occupied, which it hasn't been in decades, but they're great looking buildings. Couldn't be happier about that.
Ben talked about the incentive program for. I started when I was mayor before. We give up to $10,000 if the business would improve their facade in their business. And I think we had 3 buildings took advantage of it. And then I think the budget kind of went down after I left, and so I'm surprised that many actually took advantage of that. But the incentive is again for the businesses. When they you have to give money back, just like they're trying to do with the federal government. The people that need it, that's where you want to send that money back to. So, and the big thing is your business. And we did when you improve the downtown, which we've all talked about, we know that. The music downtown, the lights downtown, the walk bridge, the parking lot that I put in and Ben paid for us, and things like that is what brings the businesses in town. The improvements, like everybody talks about, if you don't improve the town, they're not gonna come. But the downtown everybody goes down, everybody goes by it. Years ago, Person Prodigal, Dow Chemical, they had a program they supported, World Water, clean water. And they ran from LA to Chicago. And they get out and they run all the way. Well, they came to Wilmington 2 a.m. Well, they looked downtown and the lights were there and what a pretty town. That's all they saw was, so downtown, so important, spending money on that, improving it. It's such an issue, and you have to keep doing that because that's what people see. They say, oh, your downtown's nice, and I think I'll live here, so.
Would you be in favor of the city purchasing this soon-to-be vacant fire department? Why or why not?
I wouldn't be opposed to it. There's probably a lot of different things that are wrong with the building, and there's probably a lot of uses that we could use for the building, as the park district, just to name a few. So.
No, I'm totally against that. You take away from taxpayers. If it makes money. It's like where GMC was at. That's already filled. There's a business in there. I think it's a dance studio or something. But that building's already filled up, and so these buildings are empty. They'll fill. I know there's a few people looking at that. I talked to the park board, and of course they're thinking about they might buy it, whatever. But it'll get filled. There's somebody be there, but it's nice if it was a retail business. So again, we get money from it. So that's as mayor, you want to bring the retail in, whatever you can do, and whenever a city or a public takes over a building, you're losing income. So I'm against us buying it, but.
Yeah, so I would say that is an aldermanic question. That's spending money that's the taxpayers. That's your alderman's decision. That's not the mayor's decision. So my job is to get the facts right, get the best offer that we can from the fire protection district, present the pros and cons. We know that there is a capital outlay that we're gonna have to spend money on that building because it's old, right? It's probably gonna need some roof work or electrical upgrades or whatnot. But it's my job to get all that information to the aldermen to make their educated decision on the future of that purchase. It's 100% not my realm.
This one probably just for Ben, since you're still in here. How much money has been spent as the city's share of received grants, and how much are those grants worth?
So right now we're managing approximately 9.5 million grants, roughly, of awarded grants. And of that, there's grants that we've already processed and done, stuff like the Gemini Giant improvements, that was almost 100% grant funded. Stuff like the downtown Water Street, 100% grant funded, but the end all be all in your questions for the 9.5 million that we have currently out in grant funding. The city's responsibility is approximately 500,000, give or take. So value on the dollar there, that's huge. And to further that, like when we're talking pure dollars, so what we call like discretionary-ish, the general corporate fund, which is what the city really runs on, is roughly $7 million a year. So when we say we got 9.5 million in grants, we got basically a 3-year plus of capital improvements, and that's what allowed us to get everything that we've gotten done. And if those that want, a workup of those grants, they're available on the city's website. We have a whole updated list of all the grants that we currently have out. That's everything from I don't want to say the little ones, but we get a lot for police and ESDA, from like One Oak Pipeline Services for maybe $3,000 for some ESDA tools, all the way up to the big ones that are $2 million in excess. So we're pounding on every door, all the way from the federal level down to the state, to the county. Partnerships with Joe, our county board member in Will County, they stepped up. We've got over $2 million from them. And even the off-road ones, like the local businesses or the Exxon Mobils, the Constellation Generating Station, like we're trying to get every single dollar we can out there.
How can we make sure Wilmington is not left behind when it comes to growth compared to our neighbors?
I think we need to be more welcoming to new and existing businesses. By streamlining maybe the process, permits, licensing, fees, some kind of incentives, get growth.
I mentioned that before, you have to, the housing, the growth is, you can't, now Jason's a developer, he builds houses, but you can't force people to build houses, you know, and if, we've had, I don't know how many new houses come in the last few years, but, you know, and then we haven't had a new subdivision in quite a few years, and a lot of people haven't, everybody's afraid to open a subdivision, they'll go broke, the interest go up to, you know, right now it's 7, but that's nothing, everybody remembers it's 18%. You know, years ago, and the cost is up. So you have to, you worry about that interest, the cost of material. Right now it's high. Will it come down? Will interest come down? So that's the issues you have when you bringing people in. And again, a lot of businesses look at how many rooftops. Okay, will come in. Again, like a Walmart will never come here, and really, I don't think we want a Walmart. I just soon go to Kankakee or Joliet for one. They've been notorious for coming in somewhere, opening it up, and then every other business would close, and then they leave, and then your town's really stuck. But compared to the other towns, we're way ahead of them. I know Diamond opened a few places up, but like the mayor said, what'd they give away? They probably they probably tiffed it, so they probably get no income coming for 23 years. So again, Port Braidwood with the Durazio, when they finally build it, I'm sure the deal they won't get income for, again, returning that money, the 1.7 million where it was for that land, they won't get a return on that for, 30 years. And I think it was a bad deal they made, and I'm glad they did, and we didn't do that. So again, you can't just make people come here. You got, I think it's a nice town. Hopefully somebody will open up another subdivision, and then things would pick up. I think we'd move on. We Mayor and I both, I did it too. The tap-on fees are down to, zero, low, so that's a big thing, but we've all done that.
Yeah, so again, you gotta start with enticing builders to come, but you gotta entice them responsibly, right? So we do waive tap-on fees for residential. I think that's important. Again, we have over 400 buildable lots today without adding another subdivision. So we don't need to sprawl to fill in what we already have. But at the same time, we need to actively work with those builders. We have to provide them with professional services in a timely fashion. When they say go, they want to go. They don't want to wait for you to be available. And that's really the passion part, and why I say, work so hard at this as my full-time job, because when those developers call, they want a meeting. They don't want to hear a voicemail. They don't want to leave you an email that gets unreturned. They want results. And typically that is a lot of meetings that we have, and it's not just businesses or residential. It's a mix of all that. And the tap-on fees are a great way to do that. And at the same time, you got to make sure that you're available to the developers when they need you. It's not a wait-and-see game. You have to go play the game. You have to be out there and available to meet with these people. And while we don't go out and scream from the mountaintops, like some other Call It Diamond or whatever was saying we're getting all, we're getting this and that and the other, we're having conversations with developers. Now we just don't say it publicly because speculation's not a great thing to do either. I don't want to promise you guys the world and that doesn't come. Roy can attest, when he went through the Loves thing, that was something that started under Roy, and we're just now seeing it to fruition. We talk about Jewel. That was 17 years in the making. That didn't happen overnight. No one closed that deal. That was Jewel saying that they were finally ready to develop. And the same with, Durazio and Bauer. They're finding their issues on transferring over there. It's not just as easy as, I want to build a dealership, I want to do it tomorrow. And, we want a Chick-fil-A. That's not how that game works. It's not the city's decision to say, we want a Chick-fil-A. It's Chick-fil-A to say, we have the rooftops and the businesses to support it.
Is there anything that can be done to bring relief to residential water bills?
And I'm the poor sucker that gets to start this. So let me lead off by saying everyone understands the pain of the water bill. It is what it is. I'd like to say that there's some magic pain point on this. There's really not. We have the freshwater intake. We are the only one around us that does. Everyone else gets well water. You turn a switch on, and it pumps water until you turn it off. Ours, we have chemistry involved. We have people that are operating it right now to produce 220 million gallons annually that we draw out of Kankakee. That's something that no one else has. If you read anything about the water initiative that's north of us in Shanahan and Shorewood and Joliet, that's going well over $1 billion, they're already feeling the pain for that. They're talking triple water bills that are no end in sight. $300 a month for a water bill in Shorewood. That's going to be crazy. But what we can do and what we have been doing is working on refining our process. So we went through, all of the increases and all of the inflation over the last couple of years. We haven't raised that annual increase any further than it has, even though inflation was 9%, 7%, 6%. The water bills haven't been adjusted to match that inflation rate. We've left it right where it is. And the reason is pretty simple. We meet every other month. Our water production team, our utility billing team, myself, our administrator, and we go over things that we can do to improve the system. When I took over as mayor, that was one of the topics we talked about, to hitting our head against the wall. We had over 400 plus accounts that were estimated since the beginning of time. Now we're under 20 of them a month, religiously. We knew where less than 45% of the water was going 4 years ago. We couldn't produce a bill to an actual meter that generated that result. Today, and we make these available in every city council packet that we talk about. They're out there today. You can go back 4 years and they'll be there for every other month for the last 4 years. We're at 98% accountability. It means we know where 98% of the water in the system is. If we're producing 222 million gallons of water annually, we're getting receipts for 222 million gallons. So while the water bill's not going down, we're able to stand in front of you and say this is why it's what it is.
All right, anyway, do you remember what your bill looks like? You go down the list, what's water? Is that the most expensive or is that the cheapest one? Cheapest. The water's not the issue, it's the sewer plant. We built a new sewer plant, we had to. We're getting fined every year for chemicals that we couldn't, the sewer plant couldn't replace. Now Joliet's replaced all their sewer plants, everybody's done that. So the sewer plant, we had to do it. And that's the big one, that $25, whatever it is, that one fee or 30, and then plus the bill, whatever you use. But it's the water, our water is good, it's the best water I think in the area. Same as, I think it's better than Lake Michigan water. But the water is not the bill, it's that sewer plant. And then hopefully, once this TIF's over, I don't know if I'll still be here, but we can maybe pay that off and bring our bill down. But again, like the mayor, I don't think it's not going to come down. The cost there, it won't happen. But again, our water's cheap. And if you just like Lakewood Shores or the school, there's a couple of houses that don't have sewer. My shop, all we have is water. That bill's nothing. It's great. But the sewer, that's the big one.
So the only thing we can do is keep reevaluating the annual raise of the water bill that we do. I think we do a 2% raise every year. Is that about right? 3%? Yeah, so that's about reevaluate that.
Why are you no longer the city's building inspector? And if you're elected, how would you avoid any potential conflict of interest with your profession?
I was asked to resign as a building inspector because they said everything was a conflict of interest that I did. I don't inspect my own work, I never have. Another inspector came in to do those inspections. And as far as if I was elected, what would I do? I would hire probably an inspector from the city of Wilmington to make it easier for the residents. They use a third party out of Elgin, and they just make the process harder. That's about it.
Okay, Ben, this is just for you. You recently announced last year was record-breaking for sales tax in Wilmington. Where does most of that money come from?
So again, it's a mix. Heavy of it would be what they consider, if you look on the tax bill, I believe they call it miscellaneous pharmacy. But that is retail deliveries to our zip code. So that can be anything from Target to PetSmart to Amazon. That is our infill from the .com. And that's, that probably, I would imagine, outlays 50 to 60% of our sales tax.
What's the biggest problem facing Wilmington, and how do you intend to address it?
We've got a lot of, I think, different problems. The biggest problem is probably, if there's a wreck on 55, what happens? Everybody comes through Wilmington. And I talked to the chief before. I said, why can't, years ago, they put officers at every light and just run everybody through. He said, oh, we can't do that. I don't know why you couldn't, but I don't know. But that's, we've had quite a few wrecks, so traffic is an issue, if something's going on to get through town. And that to me, that's, when you're like, I want to go through, growth and all that stuff, because that's not really, it's hard to control. Again, if they don't want to come in, you can't force them, and I think the town's a nice town, and we're growing as much as anybody else, and you can't go out there, and I don't think you put a cheap subdivision in, I think Coal City had a couple just boxes, plain boxes. I don't think we want that. I'd like to see some nice affordable housing, come in, and we had a subdivision, unfortunately, up on Kayla Road, but the recession came and they went out of business. So that would have been nice up there, past Hunts Hill, on the right there, on the south end there. It's too bad that didn't go, because that would have really helped out. And right now it's hard to find a house to live. If you got any kids or you want to move, you can't find a place to go, and the prices are getting high because there's the scarcity. So probably, I think housing is probably an issue, and it's going to be a tough one to fix. Hopefully, it'll get better.
What was the question? What is the biggest problem facing Wilmington, and how do you intend to address it?
So to me, the biggest problem would be, shifting tracks where we're at, right? We have a lot of momentum, we have a lot of grants, we have a lot of plans in place, and part of that is if we just pull the plug today, then everything stops. And I'll be the first to tell you, becoming mayor for the first time, there's no how to do this for dummies. Like, you gotta figure this out, you gotta build partnerships, you gotta go talk to other mayors, see what's working for them, talk to their other, their administrators, their staff, figure out how to restart that ball. So that's my fear, is that we just stop everything today and walk away, change directions, and then it's 4 more years till anything's actually moving. So that, to me, that is my biggest fear.
I would say my biggest fear is running out of money. Not having enough rooftops, not having enough commercial businesses here in town that are going to sustain and continue to help us grow as a city.
Some aldermen have been absent for more than 30% of council meetings in the past year. Would you support an attendance ordinance for aldermen? Why or why not?
Thank you. So yeah, I would not be in favor of that at all. They are elected people, they chose to do this. There is not a whole lot of pay involved. They get paid $45 a meeting. They get all of the backlash, all of the resident issues, and they are very passionate about dealing with your issues. They have lives too. They can't make every meeting. It is a commitment of time. So for those that can't make it, I know myself personally, I have 3 kids that are in school. Like, stuff comes up. I can't tell you how many spelling bees I've missed, or math competitions, or concerts for my kids. But at the same time, I have my duty to the city, where I sometimes put the city's needs above mine and my family's. I can't speak for the other aldermen, but I'm not going to force them to that. That is why we have elections. That's why people run on, principles and what they want to do. If aldermen feel like they want that in place, they can absolutely bring that before and get a vote on it. But that's not going to be coming from me.
I sort of agree with that. The alderman might say, okay, what's an excusable absence? You know, a lot of them work. We had one lady's a lawyer. She can't come, and most of that aldermen probably still work. So things happen, they can't make it. So to me, it's excusable absent, and I don't think that again, I think that's probably a good idea that the aldermen, if they feel like it, then they can make that decision. But myself personally, I'd miss one meeting a year, and I'd go hunting in the fall. That's the only meeting I'd miss, and I did that quite a few years. But that's me. I feel that you should try to make it, but if you can't, things happen. Again, like Ben said, people have their own lives, and you have to, that's everybody's. We're all different for what's important, what's not important. So that I think I agree that the aldermen want to pass something. Yeah, go ahead.
I agree with both of them.
If elected, what is something you would do differently than is being done now?
I would like to implement an administration that works well with our city council and our city employees.
I think the transparency is a big thing. I thought I was pretty good at that, but I don't know if it's. I think that's an issue. Maybe the transparency is maybe not like it should be. But the the budget, how much money, where it's going. I don't know if the public knows where everything's going. And break it down a little more. But everybody know what's going on, and which is not that easy to do. You got some of the projects you can't talk about that are done. You can't talk about what we're gonna, this project, that project till you get it. So some of the stuff you can't talk about, and when you go back to those meetings, and all that stuff never comes out because it's personal or something about somebody or something. You have a good alderman group. I've had good groups where they actually would work. I've had some that didn't work. They weren't. They're worthless. So to me, that's important. You got to have, aldermen willing to, work and get things rolling. Ben's through that. He knows what I'm talking about. You don't want to fight the alderman. You want to be on your side, get things done. So, and then the city will go that way instead of down, up and down. So, working together is probably the biggest thing.
Yeah, I think the administration is fine. But on a follow-up, so a couple things. So, I ran with a want to increase transparency. And if you look through, again, the city's website, Wilmington-il.gov, we produce way more information than we ever have. So our average committee meetings, city council meeting packets are 50 plus pages. You get reports from the street crew, you get reports from the water guys, you get reports from finance. We have, we're an open book and no one attends, and that's, I get it. Participation's down at all, and I'm perfectly happy with not hearing pitchforks and everything at meetings. I get it. But nonetheless, we do a fantastic job of providing all the documentation that we discuss in committee meetings, in council meetings, everything from reports from, again, the Public Works Department, administration. We have workshops. Not all of our aldermen, and even myself when I started as an alderman, understood city finance. It's a complicated thing. We have many different funds, some general, some just for water sewer, some just capital, some motor fuel tax, and we can't expect that any common person that wants to run for alderman understands that day one. So we do educational sessions with incoming aldermen, existing aldermen that want to know more about finances, that they have a working knowledge of how the government is actually funded and works. And again, if we're an open book, I don't get a choice for transparency in my opinion. I work for you guys. We try to do the absolute best job that we can to make everything as transparent and available as possible.
When is the walking and bike trail going to go in? And will it be at the North or South Island? And how is it being funded? Grant money or raised taxes?
All right, so there's a couple different paths that I'll talk about. One is the bike path going from the tip of the South Island all the way up to the walking path at the North Island that connects to downtown. And it will also continue on to the North Island ball field where the concession stand is. And that's gonna just be a nice, beautiful path. And fortunately for us, we're in a, I'll tap myself on the back, we're in a pretty damn good financial position. We have a monetary policy in place now that says we have to have minimum reserves to float the government should anything like COVID happen again. On top of that monetary policy, we've gotten a lot of grants. And that grant has allowed us to get other stuff done, the aspirational stuff, like the playground, like the walking path. We're paying for that. There's no grant for that. We're paying for it, and we have the money to do it. So that will be this fall. We just said, put out an RFP for the playground equipment. We have a design in place, great. The other path I talked about is our federal lands access program. It's a FLAP grant. That's gonna connect Elwood proper to Wilmington via the federal lands. That's exactly what the FLAP is. Federal land access program. It's gonna go from Elwood to Abe Lincoln National Cemetery across to Medewan, and then back down to Wilmington. And that's already funded, that's a federal grant. Engineering's already started, the village of Elwood's taking the lead on that, so there is zero money out of our pocket, which is fantastic.
That wouldn't have been for you, Roy. This one would be. Okay, what promise are you going to promise? That didn't even make sense. What promise are you going to promise to do it if we elected that you didn't fulfill before or since you've been in prior or now?
The big one was around a couple. I brought the walk bridge to town, and when I did that, everybody said, "What? A bridge is nowhere." Well, I was out of office, I couldn't put it up, so I had it delivered, and Marty put it up. Thank you, Marty. He did that, and then. But it's probably the nicest thing down there. I mean, the time you go through town, that walk bridge is, it's one that I think it's the nicest thing down there. The parking lot that through Ryan Jeffries and Charles, we were able to buy that lot. We sold the old police station. We bought the parking lot down there, down in North End, and 150 came out and cleared it for us for nothing. So the cost was zero, but it had to settle for a couple of years before we could pave it, and then Ben paved it. So that was that parking lot is huge downtown. That parking lot and that. But I want to bring up the walk paths. When they took the water and sewer out to Ridge, there was a bike path on that, and they took it out. And I wasn't in office. I don't think Marty was in office then, but I don't know why they took it out. But those kids walk out there all the time to that football field, kids field, but there's supposed to be a sidewalk. And then also there's supposed to be a sidewalk when they did one of the last improvements going on to Medewan. There was a sidewalk in there, and I was wondering what happened to that. But I guess there's a federal grant to get that, so that'll be taken. But to me, and what I want to do is also down in Fork of the Creek, behind Lombardi's, I want to put a walk bridge there and clean that out so people can actually, walk. A lot of people walk down, County around Kaler, but I don't want them to walk on 53. And that walk bridge, that would be nice down there. So that's it. It needs to be done. I'd like to get that. I wanted to get that before, but it never got done. Find somebody to pay for it. Not the city paying for it.
Okay. Any plans for commercial and recreational improvements for the Riverfront National Water Trail? Any commercial or recreation? You know of any?
Are we talking about the islands or what?
I'm not quite sure. That's what you wrote. I'm not sure what the National Water Trail is.
Yes, the Key River is a national water trail.
Okay.
That's the tie in there.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I've already discussed it before, but again, we're going to replace the park on the South Island, the park equipment. We're going to add a walking path from the tip of the South Island all the way up to the walk bridge and then some. There is a kayak launch that's going to be coming in this fall, early fall, to the North Island. That will include a new paved parking lot, and it will be fully ADA accessible. The concession stand recently got totally re-gutted and rebuilt, and some disc golf.
Okay. The other thing she wanted to know about restaurants, you already talked about the boat launch, and any kind of outdoor dining. I don't know what the heck that question would be.
Yeah, so for restaurants and outdoor dining, I mean, we'd be more than willing to work with anyone that wants to entertain doing some sort of outdoor dining. I personally love the idea. We have immediately I'm thinking Rustic would be a fantastic opportunity for outdoor dining, and I think we all agree would be patrons there. So.
Would the mayoral candidate, would you put up a evergreen berm or fence or block to block the gas station noise, garbage, privacy, and water's edge?
If it's possible, I would consider it.
When the Prince came in for that gas station, I think it was passed too quick. And part of that gas station should have been putting a wall along those houses. I don't know why that was left out. I don't understand that. Because you go down 355 or something at 55, where still there's a loud noise and the big walls up along it. Why did it happen? And I don't understand that was left out. I think that was I blame the alderman for that. They left that out, and they should have that should have been in there already. And why should the city pay for that? That should have been in there already and done, and the gas station should have paid for that. I hope someday they will. I don't know if they'll be able to do that now or not, but to me, that's something that the city missed. I think everybody agrees on that. It should have been in there.
Yeah, so what I'd say, that was actually thought of. The issue lies more on the landowners that abut the right of way of the state route, obviously. But there needs to be some sort of general consensus from the owners that abut that property. And as put in your planning hat, you want that to be a consistent look. You can't have two that opt in for arborvitae and two that opt in for a block wall and one that just wants nothing. It has to be a consistent look across that entire facade. If the city is gonna, participate in any portion, which I have no problem doing. I think personally, it would look better. I'm sure from the resident that owns that property, it would reduce my issues. At the same time, that is something that Loves had previously said that they were wanting to participate in that. They wanted to make it as friendly as they could. The problem is it's not their property, so that couldn't be found in any agreement. You can't force them to do something on a property they don't own. But nonetheless, they were willing to participate in abating that.
What are you going to do to help our town be more accessible to wheelchair users?
Yeah, so as much as we can. Part of that is on, if we're talking residential subdivisions, I would encourage anyone to use the sidewalk share program. It's a program that's already out there that me and Roy have been up here before and talked about, and people use it all the time. Last year we had 8 properties that took advantage of that. That's a 50-50 share. You pay for the materials, we provide the labor. It saves you a ton of money. That allows us to replace the concrete and the curb cut in to make it ADA accessible. Now on the business side, that's a whole different story, because that varies in cost from a little to a whole lot. If we're talking about, ADA sidewalk in front of a business that's, let's say, McDonald's, that's the same as a residential sidewalk. Now, if we're talking about a business that's down on Water Street that's got a 14-foot wide sidewalk and 6 other businesses on either side of it, they all have to be uniform. So it's not just a pay for it and do it type thing. There needs to be participation amongst the business owners and a want by the business owners to do that. Now, can the city participate in some fashion? I'm definitely not opposed to that. I think, it's something that I've heard of, nothing constant, just nonstop for 4 years. I'm sure Roy and Marty have heard the same. Like, those are issues that have been there for as long as that sidewalk has. But at the same time, those are on the businesses that want to improve their property. Now, the city can assist with that, but we're not going to replace an entire city block of privately held infrastructure.
That is an issue with the sidewalks. As you know, they've come in over years, and the feds have come in and put the little orange pad down, to cut the sidewalk down, so I think that's for a handicapped to use it. The issue, one of the issues I have, is these new subdivisions, they'll sell like, there's 20 lots, they'll sell 12 of them. Well, the unsold lot, there's no sidewalk. Well, across from my nephew, that subdivision's been there 20 years, and there's sections, no sidewalk. So I think that's a law I think I would pass. You've got, say, 5 years, I don't care if there's no house there, you gotta put a sidewalk in. So, and there's a subdivision like that all over it, where if you go along here, and also there's no sidewalk. Well, what's that about? But and then I know there's a spot on Laurel Street that the sidewalk was from the 40s, and it's buried. I think it's a 6 inches underground, because where's the sidewalk at? Well, it's there, and we need to put pressure on these people to, some of the rentals, but we have to get those sidewalks finished. And I think also on Kayla Road, well, the people are on the road walking all the time on the road because there's no sidewalk by those apartments, and there needs to be a sidewalk there. I think if we approach them, hey, you got to put a sidewalk there. We'll help you out, but then they're gonna cross the street because it goes halfway to. And when you have the school, you need sidewalks, everything going to the school. You need that stuff. All the kids walking and stuff,
So I believe the grant program is only for replacement of the existing sidewalks, correct? Not adding new?
We've added new ones.
Yeah. I believe that's how it's supposed to be though, but yeah, we should definitely look into changing that. And if there's not a sidewalk in that specific lot, adding it to this sidewalk share program.
Since you're both business owners, will you bid on any city projects? Would that be a conflict of interest?
If they're sealed bids, I would say that's not a conflict of interest.
No, I don't own the business anymore. My nephew and niece run it, so Island City's not. I'm out of it. So as far as me, I don't have a business, so it's up to them. I'm out of that. Oh, you want?
I don't own a business.
What is your feeling about the city working with the Park District to come up with a bigger daycare center and creating more programs for the residents?
A great idea. The children's program is huge, and I think maybe I'm wrong, but I think there's a lot more kids coming up in town. A lot of younger couples with their kids, and all of us went to the fundraiser for the Cooperstown team, and all those parents there, and a lot might even know, but of course they've got kids there, 12-year-olds, I think is that the age group, whatever. But the daycare is so important. My daughter, both of them, work, and one's got 3 little ones, one's got 2, and daycare is huge for them. They take them into daycare. One's got a baby born in November, and the other's got she's got a 1-year-old, and the other one's got 2 new babies and a 4-year-old. Well, and they both work, and my other daughter, they both fly. So in the morning at 6 o'clock, they take it in daycare, and I feel sorry. And the best thing ever happened to Godly. That Godly has a daycare down there. That's the best thing ever happened down there. That's so utilized, and I think any of us, we all have kids, so daycare is huge, and I would do everything I could. And the park board runs that down there, and I work out down there all the time, and all those kids are down there, and it's really a nice thing. And I commend the park district for what they've done. They're very aggressive, and they're doing the things that should be done, and it's great. And I think all of us will support anything there.
How much money does the city have in the reserve fund? Do you know?
So again, I'd say our fiscal policy states that we have to be able to float it for at least a quarter. That would equate to roughly $3 million. Now the dicey part is how government finance works. So we get money multiple times from multiple different sources over the year. So as you're talking funds in, funds out, we get motor fuel tax twice a year, we get sales tax 3 times a year, we get property tax twice a year. There's money coming in and coming out all the time, which is, when we're talking grants and we say $9.5 million, that's a lot of money. But at the same time, there's a maximum amount of grants that we can get because we have to fund those grants in advance to get paid back by the grantor, which is usually either the state, the government, or the county. So there's a fiscal component of that we need to make sure that we have money in the bank to cover that until we get paid back for that grant. And that's why, for me personally, like that's one of the things I would like to be able to do more is get even more grants, but we're limited to the funding capabilities of our town, right? We have a set amount of money in the bank. We're not going to go borrow to get grants. We're going to use the money that we have on hand to pay for those grants. So yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag of a question for you, an answer for the question.
Go ahead.
Mr. Wilmington, Mr. Strong, and Ben, we, for the most part, you all agree that the city has been mostly prosperous for the last 4 years. And you answered questions about what you would change, and then your broad answers. I am wondering what drove you to run this time against a candidate that has been fairly successful. What specific thing would you have done different than what Ben has done in the last 4 years? What instance would you have handled differently? What administrative thing would you have done differently? What one thing, what specific thing would you have done differently in the last 4 years than what Ben did?
I'm assuming you don't want me to answer.
I hired Jason for a building inspector, and then it's hard. He's gone. He won't be there, but it's hard to find a building inspector. It's really difficult. You'd like a local person, and I think that I wouldn't have fired him until I found another one. It's one of the things where every day there's probably somebody calling for inspection. The projects that he's doing, like I said, all of us, Daniel Street's been paved twice since I've been in. Kankakee Street, it's been, the improvement I had on Kankakee Street, that was done, 8 years ago. And it's kind of needs another one pretty soon. So things, like I say, asphalting, we all do it. And then the money comes and goes. So you really can't, the price of oil, I don't keep up on it, but, the city does. And can we pave a lot this year? Well, no, we'll wait till it goes down a little bit and you pave a little more. So there's a lot of things that you don't know the total details on in the city. And I would have, the trails upsets me that we didn't get that walking trail out to the football field for the kids. And then again, there was one on there we had out at Midday when our ridge, we're not ridge, but 150's had that property out there. We should have had a sidewalk out there already. But of course, they got a program, they're gonna get it. Of course, we don't know, it might be, it might be 5 years before we get that sidewalk. But those are things that I want the city, and it's another thing that brings people here. If you, walking, sidewalks and stuff that people can go out and, I go out to Madera quite a bit. I walk out there, there's all kinds of, it's really nice out there. I don't see a lot of Wilmington people, a lot of people out of town people out there, but there's trails all over the place and it's really, really pretty neat. So, to me, you're talking about bringing people to town, and that's one of them, the trails and where people get around, all of us sidewalk or walk, whatever. So I guess that's one of the things that I would which would do more.
I would say my biggest thing is being more welcoming to new and existing businesses. That's it. That's my biggest thing.
Okay.
So I just wanted to add to Roy's point about the building inspector. It's terribly hard to find a qualified person, and more importantly, not someone who's just a book and this is the code and this is what it is. You need someone who's flexible to the community, and I truly believe that the service that we're using now, BNF Technical, they also represent Braidwood, they represent Coal City, Elwood. That service is invaluable to us. It protects the homeowner, it protects the builder, to make sure that the plans meet what you're paying for. And with BNF comes scale. So as a resident or a business owner in town, you have the ability to schedule your own appointment online, which matters. If if you're a developer that's not based in Wilmington, you don't want to have to track down your building inspector to get an inspection on something 300 miles away. So we're offering next day or sooner appointments for inspections, and that's the kind of thing that gets the development rolling. Is they need predictable costs, they need predictable scheduling, and they need a predictable professional that's going to be there when they said they're going to be there. And I have full faith in the service that we're using.
I'm Rachel Conforti. I own Art on 66 in the business in town. I just wanted to ask about Route 66. It's a 100-year anniversary next year. As we know, it's like tens of thousands of tourists who pass through our town every day, and that's like a gold mine that we are not getting back into. I've lived in Nevada for several years, and tourism fuels our schools, our taxes. I know state income tax. So I feel like this is like an opportunity that we can do as a town to get some of that tourism income. So I'm just wondering, like, each one of you, if any of you, have a plan for 2026.
Yeah, so again, those are the things that I worry about losing momentum on. So for those that don't know, I also sit on the Heritage Corridor Destinations, which is our Travel and Convention and Visitors Bureau. Covers all of Will County. We have the trademark for the first 100 miles. You'll see it everywhere. And not only that, it goes all the way out to Starved Rock National Park, all the way down to Pontiac. So absolutely, like Route 66, while everyone in here just has always assumed it's been here, no big deal, it's Baltimore Street to us, right? It's not Route 66. But on the tourism side, there are tens of thousands of people that travel. It's their life trip, it's their Disney World, and I'm not being facetious with that. Like, people plan their entire adult lives to go on once in a lifetime trips across Route 66. So yeah, I'm heavily invested. Obviously, I think it's a great thing for the town. Anytime that we can get more people to stop here, that puts more money into the pockets of businesses. That equates to people that might want to come back, and the cycle just keeps going. So, 100%, absolutely.
Yeah, the tourism with American Legion and the VFW, every year when they have, is it around 66 days? Is that Red Carpet days. Well, a lot of people out of Chicago come down. So as the farther they come, they get less and less. So by the time they get down to Pontiac, they're not quite as many, but Wilmington gets quite a few. So the more things we have, so we take advantage. I think the city takes advantage of that. But when Launching Pad was running, I've seen the groups from Germany and Europe. Well, they kind of slowed down a little bit, the European travelers. Now it's mostly Chicago people, but I've seen everything come through. I go to the gas station there, you see the people over there, and they're foreign, and then they'd rent the motorcycles, and down here they come in a big group, and a van behind them. So, but it's Route 66 that draws them. And the Giant happens to be on Route 66, so I remember going to Launching Pad, and they had a little booklet that'd be like a passport. They'd get stamped, because they saw the Giant. I talked to Ben before about I'd like to see the Giant had been downtown, like right next to Hayden's. And the reason is for retail. If you headed down there, people got to park around there, maybe they'd spend some money downtown. It's over there now, so it's over there. It's a nice little park, but they're not going to get much retail out of it. They're not going to walk downtown. But I think, and it's, again, you can't force people to do stuff. We can bring it up, Route 66, 100 years. It's like what's coming up is Illinois becoming a state. See, that's gonna 1836, is that right? I think. And so that's gonna be huge. It's 200 years. So that it's ways away. I don't know if I'll be here, but hopefully. But things like that you got to plan ahead of time, to make the most of it. So the Route 66 is huge. It's, to me, same thing. If you're a business on Route 66, it's free advertisement because you're on Route 66. You're gonna get that. You're gonna get that traffic, guaranteed. But make the most of it.
Yeah, to me, it sounds like you're asking, what are we gonna do to improve that Route 66, right?
More of just like, what are we doing as a town to make us appealing to the Route 66 crowd? Since we have it in town, right? So what are we doing now?
Sounds like we need a committee. Sounds like we need a committee tourism committee to put together and take advantage of.
Are you recording or commenting?
I'm not volunteering.
I don't have any comments.
Yes, sir.
I haven't heard anybody talk about, what are we doing with our gaming dollars? You know, what's that revenue been? Do you know, have any idea what we're taking in on gaming?
Yeah, $4 million.
So is there a possibility we could devote, I mean, you're talking about, we're getting more retail money, we have record retail tax growth. Could we take a portion of that gaming money and dedicate it to something that we're all talking about, we want to see things happen? Is that a possibility? The other question I have is, has the council or the alderman considered, what are we gonna do with grocery tax? Grocery tax, 1%, I know, if you go to the grocery store, you spend $100, we're only talking $1. But in the end, are we gonna keep that tax? Or are we gonna let our people here kind of keep that extra buck in their pocket?
Well, let me speak here. The tax, the grocery tax, they're going to be the biggest tax person when Grazo leaves. The grocery stores, they're right behind, I believe. Is that correct? I think it is. And so to take that 1%, I don't think that would happen. And then the gaming, I think the gaming is kind of, my looks at it, maybe taking the place of the dealerships. As it grows, maybe it'll replace the loss of the dealerships. So maybe the sales tax actually might not even go down or recover. That's what it looks like to me. Maybe not. Maybe.
Ben, did you say $250,000 or $4 million?
Quarter of it.
But that's a great question. But then again, it doesn't hurt to take some of it for these different different things. So it's like the money's designated already. So you have to worry about how we're going to finance it. We have to go to the city and get some money. So if you took a small percentage of it and it went to, Route 66 improvements, more stuff in there. But again, hopefully somebody open a business up, but you can't force them. We hope they'll come in and do stuff. Where the city can't make okay, come on, you got to get in there, open that business up here. You can't do that. You hope that somebody. And as things get closer, then maybe people say, hey, let's get something going here. And then, I remember who wanted to come, the Dunkin' Donuts, but they wanted to come. It had to be on the south side, come into town from the south. They couldn't find a lot to fit, and a big enough lot for them. They want to build drive-in and get coffee and donuts and pull out. But it had to be the south side of town, out by Angelo's. It had to be somewhere along there. Well, there wasn't a spot for them. So certain things, it has to be a certain place. And of course, 53 is what it's at, but there's a lot of place. We're not going to tear houses down. Okay, you guys got to think we're going to put a business here, so. I guess
Okay.
I don't know if I got an answer. Do we know what we take in the grocery tax?
Yes, we do. And it's not just Burkott. So it's any of those goods that you sell.
It's not just Burkott's, right.
Chips, pop, whatever. So all your convenience stores are affected, all of your Burkotts, anything that's selling basically prepackaged. And there's two ends. So if you're using WIC or some sort of government subsidy, you're not paying tax on that anyway. So take that off the table too. It is, another source of revenue. But again, as mayors, whether you're aware or not, I don't have the ability to pass that. It takes the alderman to do that. So it's something that we discussed, and there is timing with this. So that law passed a year and a half ago now.
Right.
And there is a finite timeline of when this ends on its own. So if the city does nothing, it ends January 1 next year. If the city does nothing, it automatically just falls off the roll. We have until July to do something about it. If we want to continue on that tax, and the full backstory is, Pritzker just said eliminate the grocery tax because he has no stake in it. They get no money. It's 100% goes to the municipality. So it's easy for him to give away money that's not his. I mean, shocker, right? So this is something that municipalities can opt into or opt out of. And I would say that all of our sister municipalities have already opted into it. So there's not going to be any difference. And the same if you went to Grundy County. Like, they don't have the Will County gas tax. Gas isn't cheaper over in Grundy County. It's the same price as it is here. So it's just, everything will continue to be the same price everywhere regardless, more or less. And that 1% is not going to do any different. But nonetheless, that's an alderman decision. They pass the laws. That's not on the mayor. So the mayor would provide the input to say, this is what we have on the table, this is potentially how it's gonna affect services, or this is where we get other revenue from. And ultimately, that's something that we decided last fall, knowing that it's an election. I didn't want this to be an election issue. So we're not bringing it up until after the election either way. So whoever those new aldermen are, and whoever that new mayor may be, they can deal with that because that's their prerogative to move that initiative forward or let it expire.
When she was talking about improvement for Route 66, is there a way, is the city gonna do anything? I don't know if they own the launching pad, but could that be spruced up before Route 60, before the 100th year, before 100%? So
it's a shame you guys want all new growth, you want everything because it's pretty, but then you drive into our town and the first thing you see is the mayor, the sex trafficker, and everything else. And so,
Anybody want it more than red?
People still stop there. It's a shame that that's what the first thing they see there.
I don't disagree 1,000,000%. Like, I wish my name was not on that. I wish my son didn't have to see that when he's driving back into town. It's completely belligerent. That person has rights though. It's the First Amendment. You can't not appreciate that. Now, would I say, is there a long game strategy-wise for the city? Absolutely. Like, I would hope that there's faith that we're not just letting it continue to do what it's doing. Like, am I going to get into it? No, I don't want her to stir more crap up, right?
And I know everybody is limited. It's just a shame for our little town that we say that we all want all this growth. And that's the view that they see when we drive through our
Yeah.
especially if we have Route 66 and we want to encourage people to come through and spend their money and then you see stuff like that.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. Like, and it's one of those things on the how to be a mayor for dummies that wasn't in there. Like, how do you deal with someone that owns
So she owns
that?
that building still?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So what I would say is that the city fully intended to work through a deal where the Joliet Area Historic Museum and the city partnered to purchase all of that as it was, with everything included. Now, we offered what she was asking, and that was grant funded as well. Like, wouldn't it cost the city a dime? She didn't want to sell it. So just like bringing in a Duncan or whatever, if there's not a willing land seller, there's not much we can do. Like, she put her price out there at 800, and then it was $1 million, and we still got the $1 million, and she still said no. It sucks. Long game, yeah, there's a play to continue to do what we're doing, and again, I feel sorry for our police department, but now we have body cameras, and I'm happy for them for having that, because that's a perfect example of having those cameras helps protect the officers, right? They're doing the right thing, but who knows what the other person's gonna do. And all of the times that we go over there, we're sending her a bill. And if she's paying it or not, she's still gotta pay it. And if it gets to a point where the pain is more than it's worth, then we can go down the other road. So.
It's not just that. I mean, I worked for the school for 20 years and I feel, and you have school, remember? I mean, go look at the different communities, Whole City and Graywood, and go to their schools and see their elementary schools compared to what we're offering at Grimley School. It's sad. So, I mean, Jason's gonna put up a wonderful subdivision out there with a lot of homes to offer for families, but we gotta offer more to our community. And so if we want businesses, I don't think it's just on you guys, I think it's the community that needs to come together to do better. So.
If anyone wants to go super loud, we'll get you.
Okay, let's give them a big hand, guys. Nice job. 24th, Kentucky's 6-8, another debate. So bring your questions.